Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us this evening for Yoga in Our City's virtual studio. Chair Yoga. I'm Anne. Now, it's a great idea to check with your medical practitioner before you begin any exercise, even yoga. And this is especially important if you're pregnant or you're nursing, or you're on any type of medication or have a pre-existing condition. Now, I wanted to share some information about myself. So it's personal information. I am now presently 71, so my body has definitely changed over the years. This is what we call aging. And many of you that are joining me this evening may be also aging. You may be also having some pre-existing conditions like MS or cerebral palsy, or maybe some other type of medical condition. Well, this is all for you, because what we're going to focus on at this session is breathing and joint and muscle strengthening. Because again, as I'm aging, there's some things that I used to be able to do that I cannot do anymore. For example, I used to have great strength in my wrists. I was able to open up jars, no problem. Now, I usually have to call my daughter and say, "Hey, honey, can you open this jar?" So the body begins to change, and this is just a natural part of the aging process. And can't fight it, so I'd like to embrace it. So today or tonight, that's basically what we're going to focus on. Now, as we age, everything changes. Not only flexibility, mobility, range of motion, sometimes even cognitive decline happens. So when I used to be able to recall information very quickly, it may take me longer. Again, yoga is wonderful because it talks or supports our aging process. Yoga is for everyone. Now, what we see again in the media is not what yoga's about. These very beautiful, flexible young people in their very fancy clothing, that's not what this yoga is about. This yoga is something that we can move through our whole life. And as we age, we can adjust and adapt our yoga from the mat to the chair. That's the gift. Now, we'll begin where we were last week in sitting mountain. Remember, sitting mountain is the foundational pose that we always come back to in between postures or in between breathing, because we may begin to feel maybe a little bit of tiredness or tension in the lower back, and we know we need to adjust or move. The wisdom of the body is a beautiful gift that we have. We just have to be aware, body awareness and mind awareness. So let's begin this evening by waddling to the front of your chair. Now, I'm going to go right to the edge. There's probably, 2 inches from the edge of my chair to where my body ends. But you may feel safer by having a little bit more room away from the edge of the chair. That's fine. This is about your practice, your comfortability. Now, before we get into the sitting mountain, I do want to mention that if you tune into last week's video, which is on YouTube, I go through a lot of detail in the sitting mountain foundational posture. Tonight, I'm going to go through it a little quicker, okay? Because many of you may be tuned in last week, so you know how the position of the sitting mountain will be. So to begin with, again, we're going to take the right hand and lift up the right buttocks, the fleshy part, and then the left, and you're going to feel those two sit bones. So just waddle back and forth, front and back, so you feel the grounding of those sits bones on the chair. And then looking down, we'd like to have the feet flat on the floor. Okay, last week we talked about props. So if your feet do not touch the floor, again, you may want to use a block, or you may want to use a little table, whatever you have that's comfortable for you. Okay, so I'm going to remove the blocks though. You want one on one foot and one on the other. So let's separate our feet comfortably apart. And in the soles of our feet, you'll notice that there's some cushions right beneath the toes. So kind of press into the cushion part right beneath your toes, and then press down the heel. There's another cushiony part, and sink the feet into the floor. And now you're going to feel even more alert, because our sitting posture is an active posture. Now, moving up the legs, we want to take our fists, put them together, and fists facing up, place them in between the legs, right next to the side of the knees, and ride those hands up to the fleshy part of the inner thighs, and this will automatically set your pelvis bones in place. Now, right below the belly button, you're going to visualize a zipper, and that zipper is riding up to the top of the head, and then we'll bring it back down when we work on the upper body, the alignment. Now, when I look at my body, I can tell I am in an L shape. This is exactly what I choose and what I want. Okay? So from the waist down, the body is in one section of the L, and the top, our torso, is the length of the L. Now, moving on, take the right hand again, fist, but this time turn it so the pinky finger is under the chin, elbow out, and we would like the chin to be parallel to the floor. Now, because our necks are so sensitive, there's so many nerve endings there, we would like to keep our chin straight, parallel to the floor. And when we do need to look up, we do not want to go past where the wall and the ceiling meet. That's just enough extension for the neck. Because when we bring the chin down to the chest, this elongates the muscles in the back of the neck, which is perfectly fine. Now, moving up, we're going to bring the awareness to the shoulders, and you're going to bring the shoulders forward, up to the ears, and then back, again, kissing those shoulder blades together. You're opening the chest. Not only for our posture is this important, but when we breathe, okay, when we go through the breathing section of today's lesson, you'll understand why, because you want the lungs to be filled with that fresh oxygen. And then moving up to the top of the head, let's bring that zipper up, 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 up to the top of the head, and then coming down to the upper back, the mid back, and then the lower back. And again, the lowest, you can feel that coccyx bone way in the back. And simply breathe. Now, moving on, besides our blocks, I do recommend to have tissues, just in case as we're doing the breathing or any of the asanas, you may need to cleanse the nose. So the tissues are there. I always like to have a box near me. And then a blanket. Now the blanket will be for two purposes, or you may want to use your block for this purpose. And we'll talk a little bit about the chair. But the blanket could be from the back of the chair, the space in between my buttocks, so I can keep that blanket so I won't lean back or slump into the chair. Okay? This is also wonderful when we do our relaxing at the end. Having a nice snuggle blanket around is just, at least to me, it's wonderful. Nice and warm and cozy. I also, because I do get thirsty and I like to stay hydrated, I always have a cup of tea or water next to me. Okay? And I like it warm, not hot, but warm. So when it travels down my chest, I can feel a little bit of the warmth. Okay, so coming back into sitting mountain, which is our foundational pose, just realign yourself, okay? Maybe move from side to side, being aware again of your posture in the chair. And let's start with an intention this evening. And the intention I will like everyone to have, because it goes along with the lesson this evening, is I will focus, I will stay in the moment. And now I'm going to say it out loud 3 times, and I invite you to do the same. Or if you prefer just to whisper it or say it silently, that's perfectly fine. And so I'll begin. I will focus. I will stay in the moment. I will focus. I will stay in the moment. I will focus. I will stay in the moment. And now we're going to move into the awareness of our breath. Now, last week we went through alternate nostril breathing. I showed you just a basic alternate nostril, and we did Dirga, which is the 3-part breath. This evening, we're only going to do a full yogic breath or breath, okay? But there's no counting. There is nothing but for you to be present in your own body and to be very aware of your breath. So we're going to increase the awareness of our breath moving through our physical body and our internal body without any judgment, which means we're not going to count. We're not going to prolong our inhalations and exhalations. I would like you this evening just to be aware of your natural breath. So to do this, let's begin again to focus our bodies on the chair. And we're in sitting mountain, the foundational pose. Be sure those shoulders are forward up to the ears and then back, opening the chest. Now, you may prefer to keep your eyes open or closed. If your eyes are open, I suggest you find a spot that you can look at, maybe straight ahead. If there's a wall or there's a television in front of you or a light, focus your eyes on that one spot. This again increases our ability to stay in the moment. It also will strengthen our brains, because this way, when we look at the drishti or the spot and we're breathing, we're also increasing the oxygen that's coming into our brains, but also by steering in a meditative motion, they say we're also building new connections or networks in our brain. Eyes or keep them open. You're going to find that spot right in front. And we're going to call that a dristi if you're going to keep your eyes open. Now, some of you may prefer to keep the eyes closed. That's fine. Now, we're going to do another minute of pranayama or breathe. Of how do you feel? Now, I know when I continued to breathe, I noticed my eyes automatically wanted to close. My breath became longer and more relaxed. I felt extremely calm. So that's the awareness of our breath. And as we take our yoga practice or our meditation practice, whatever it is, or mindfulness, we begin to apply that in our everyday life, also becoming more aware, more in the moment, going back to our intention. I will focus, I will stay in the moment. Now next we're going to just do some warm-ups. So I'm going to come a little bit closer to the edge of my chair. And let's begin with the feet. So we usually start from the base and then work up the body. But just to warm it up, let's do toes, bring the heels up, and then heels back down. Toes, just getting some movement in the feet. We never realize how important our feet are and our ankles until sometimes we lose mobility or we have an injury. So we need to keep these, we need to strengthen them. Sometimes people wind up getting arthritis, which is the most common complaint of older people. Stiff joints, or like I have, as I mentioned last week, arthritis in the neck. So it's important for me in the morning when I wake up, I just kind of turn my head back and forth, just to get the movement, to get the blood flowing, hoping to lubricate in some way the joints, to have them more efficient, or other parts of the body become stronger, and we compensate for the areas that maybe are filled with arthritis or whatever it is. So after that, we're going to take our hands and just kind of raise the right leg up and then down and the left. We'll do this 3 times. Now remember that when we synchronize our breath with the movement, it's inhale, extend, and exhale, contract. Inhale, extend, exhale, contract. Okay? Now moving on, let's place our hands on our hips and let's make rotations, just moving from side to side in circles. Or if you prefer, you can go front to back, front to back. And I can feel that sensitivity in the lower back. So we want to adjust that and have that somewhat lubricated and relaxed. And let's reverse. And then from here, we're going to get our neck involved. And let's come back to the center of the chair, sits bones grounded in, and let's take our neck and just turn, looking over our right shoulder. Inhale. Take a full breath. Inhale. Then on the exhalation, slowly come back to center. And then the other side, inhale. Exhale, looking over the left shoulder. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale back to center. Now 2 more times each side. Go as slow and mindfully as you need to. And begin. Beautiful. And if you're complete, come to center. Connect with your breath. Be aware of how you're feeling. Now we're going to do a side twist. So for this, you're going to take your left hand and place it on the left side of your chair, just on the side here, and then take your right hand and place it on the outside of the left knee and just turn around. Again, you're synchronizing the breath. So it's inhale, and you can exhale by staying in the side twist. Inhale, and exhale, coming back around. And then take the right hand, place it on the side of the chair, and the left hand, you can place it either on your thigh or in the side of the chair. Now, if that's too much of a twist for you, just keep your hands right on the side of the chair, if that's comfortable. And just look at the place where there's no ouches. You feel a stretch in the spine, but not an overstretch, because we never want to do that. We want to strengthen and lengthen, but without any ouches. And now let's come back around and we'll do 2 times on the other side. Back around. So again, last week we talked about levels of flexibility. So sometimes we have no flexibility into our lower body or our hip joints. So if that's the case, you still stay with us and you only go as far as you can. Again, no ouches. This is everybody can do our chair yoga. No one's exempt. Come around. And back again. And of course, the longer we practice, so let's say every single day we're doing the stretches and the breathing, we'll notice a difference within probably 30 days. You'll be able to stretch more, farther. You'll have more flexibility. You'll feel so much better in your ability to rotate the joints and also to move about. And you'll become more aware of in your daily tasks of the improvements that you've made. Now moving on, the fingers. The fingers are so important in our everyday life. So to function every single day, we use our fingers. Sometimes we forget about them. So right now I'm going to invite you again to take the hands, and you can place them out in front of you, your arms if you'd like, or you can place them right on your knees, or just simply take the elbows, place them close to the sides of the body, and just move. Let's move the fingers one by one. And of course, you can feel all the joints in your fingers. Also, it's wonderful because we can take our hands, and we can hold our hands together so palms are touching, and now we're going to move our wrists. The other area in our physical body that is so important. And then reverse. And then we're going to shake out our hands. I call it the butterfly move. Just take the fingers and the hands and fly them above if you can. If not, you just stay by the sides of the chair. Or if you have any problems with the fingers, just stay with the joint movements. Again, yoga is for everybody, chair yoga, okay? So whatever you can do is just perfectly fine. And then shake it out. And now we're going to take our fingers and place our fingers on our shoulders. Now, if that's not possible for you for any reason, just take the fingers and place them wherever it's comfortable. It could be on your ribs. It could be just on your lap. But if possible, if you can't place the fingers here, what we're going to do is do shoulder rolls. Let's go forward. Again, synchronizing the breath. So that's the exhale. Inhale coming up and exhale down. Feel again the connection between the movements that you're doing in the shoulder blades or the upper part of the spine. In, down, and now let's reverse. It's almost like you're drawing the letter O with the elbows. Alrighty. Now moving in, we're going to do a just extension over the right side and the left, and we'll do it 3 times each side. So if you're on level 1, you may just want to keep your hands on your hips and inhale and exhale fully. And then you're going to extend to the right side just as far as you can come down. Again, only as far as you feel no ouch. And then back. It's very important to be secure in your chair. The opposite side, we don't want to fall off. Now that's the other thing. I had a friend who fell off a chair and actually fractured a hip. Balance was off. Person felt dizzy and fell. So balance as we age also tends to diminish from the way we used to be able to balance, let's say when we were in our 30s or 40s. I even noticed in my 60s I was able to be more acute with my balancing. But now I really have to work on it every day. And my working on it may be standing up and only raising my foot a couple of inches off the mat and holding onto a wall, okay? That's where I'm at. So you'll find your own level of comfort and stability. But again, stability, security. We must feel secure. We must feel safe. Now, moving on, we're going to do a posture or an asana, which will be called the bow pose. And I'm going to walk you through it, and then, well, I'm going to ask you just to watch, and then I will ask you to join in, and we'll do 3 times each side. So what we will do is, again, feet flat on the floor, come back into that beautiful sitting mountain, our foundational pose. Then we're going to cross both hands over our chest. Now I'm going to extend my left hand out, and I'm going to look over my left shoulder. But at the same time, I'm going to take that right hand and pull my bow back. Inhale. And exhale, let go. Come back to the crisscross. And now the right hand coming out. I'm going to look over my right shoulder as I bring that left arm behind. And then as I exhale, back to cross. Now this is also kind of synchronizing the left and the right side of the brain. So don't forget, we're crossing over. So any of the bilateral moves that we're doing, even with the hands crossing over and maybe doing our feet in a different way, is helping to synchronize the left and the right side of the brain. Okay, remember, one is yin, one is yang, or as we say, one is kind of the male, one is the female, one is cognitive, and one is more creative or intuitive. So we know the cognitive would be the male, and the intuitive, sensitive part, creative part would be the female. Okay, now let's start crossing the arms over. Now this time, let's take the opposite hand and bring it to the opposite shoulder. Okay, and to begin, we're going to start with the right though. Look over the right shoulder, bringing the right arm out, the left one coming back. Inhale. Pull that bow, so clitch those fists, close them up. And then exhale, let it go. Cross over. We're going to do that same arm again. Look over the right shoulder. Inhale. Make a fist. Pull that bow back. Stretch, stretch, stretch if you can. And exhale back. And one more time. Inhale, right hand coming out. Left extending behind. The same time that we look over that right shoulder. Again, you only go as far as you can. Wherever you are, level 1, level 2, or level 3. And then back. Okay, now let's shake out the hands. So if we were going to move into a basic level, we're going to cross the arms, okay? And then we're going to take our neck and look over the left shoulder. But let's say you're at level 1. Just come this far. That's fine. Level 2, come a little bit farther out. And level 3, really extend that bow back. This is wonderful for even the neck. However, like myself, arthritis, I'll only move the left side of my neck as far as I can without any ouches. And then release, cross the arms over. And again, look over the right shoulder, pull back, fist, breathe, and exhale, coming back. And one more time. Right hand, go the right shoulder, pull that bow back, inhale, and exhale, coming back. And now you can either keep your arms, if you'd like, crossed, or just rest your hands on your thighs. Now, besides the bow, the next asana we're going to do, or posture, which is very good for the joints, joint mobility, also for stiff muscles, and aging brings about, as we know, less mobility. So this will help, but only go as far as you can, okay? Now, this is going to be what we call the eagle pose, okay? Now, I'll show you 3 steps for the eagle pose. So for the eagle pose, take the right hand and just place it under the left elbow or hand. And maybe this is as far as you're going to go. And then take the right foot and place it very gently against the left leg. So this may be your eagle pose. Now for level 2, we're going to take the arms again, take the right arm and place it just a little bit more closer to our shoulder. And take that right foot and you maybe would raise it just slightly, maybe leaning against the upper part of the leg. And breathe. then back down. And if you wanted to do the full eagle, you're going to take the right under the left, and if you can, you're going to clasp the hands together so the top of the fingers are below the nose. You could feel the joint movement in the upper shoulder, the back, the shoulder blades. And then you're going to take the right foot and cross it right over the left. So this may be your eagle pose. And breathe. And do 3 full breaths here. And release the arms. And now remember, yoga meaning union, so what we do to the right side, now we're going to do to the left, okay? So if you're level 1, you know exactly what you need to do, okay? You may only be able to put the left hand on the upper part of the bicep, and then maybe just take that left foot and just gently let it rest against the right leg or ankle, nice and gentle. And if you're in level 2, you may want to do a little bit more of an extension, so the hand may be taking place on the right shoulder, and you may want to take that right or that left foot and bring it a little bit closer, maybe on top of the foot. And maybe if you're in level 3, then what you want to do is calm around if you can. Bring the palms together. And you're going to take that right foot and place it over the left. And breathe. Three full breaths. And relax. Now, usually we would do 3 in each sequence, but for the time, I'm going to just do the 1, and you know the different levels, okay? But this eagle pose is wonderful for joint mobility, okay? So if you are able to do level 1, 2, and 3, or level 1, or level 2, or level 3, I do recommend you do that every single day. It's great too for even arthritis if you begin to have it. The only thing is you got to be very careful with the rotator cuff. Just for a review, last week we talked about protecting our rotary cuffs. And if we were doing a side stretch, we're going to inhale, bring the arms up, remember, palms facing parallel to the floor. Then take the palms and turn them so they're facing up to the ceiling, and then we can move up. Same thing coming down. So now we're going to bring them down, turn the palms over, and exhale down. This preserves and saves our rotary cuff. Many people wind up having different surgeries, okay, for the rotary cuff, okay? So next we're going to do, and I really like this one, it's a knee strengthening exercise. Now, the knees, again, are another area of the body where many people wind up having problems with, whether it was overused or maybe they did a form of exercise when they were younger and they really used the joints of the knees, and then they need to either have meniscus or total knee surgery. And we know that the knees are connected, okay? Everything is interconnected in the body, so the knees also are relevant for the hip alignment, etc. So knee strengthening, you're going to take that right leg and just slide it on the floor in front of you, just a little bit ways. Take your hands and place them under that right knee, the fingers under the 4 fingers and the thumbs on the side. And I'm going to ask you to just pulsate underneath the knee. You're going to feel some stimulation. And then you're going to take the fingers and you're going to tap around the knee, getting some circulation there. Now another thing I've seen done is just to pinch to get the blood flowing, to get some movement in that knee. Another thing is some people do the thumping, you just thump around it. So for knee strengthening. Now we're going to do the opposite side. So again, you're going to take the left knee, slide that foot out in front of you. Place the hands under the left knee, thumbs on the side, and again, nice little movement there underneath it. Get some of that stimulated. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the fingers and roll them around and then pinch. The other thing we're going to do is take both hands and rub one on top of the other and rub and massage that knee. Start with the right. And then the left. Let's change the hands, one on top of the other. Then we're going to move back to the right, right hand up, slide the foot, come underneath, both hands, fingers moving around. Then massage, take that thumb and massage around the kneecap. You may even want to pinch or you may want to thump. Just get it moving, okay? Not too hard though, be very gentle with yourself. And then we're going to do the opposite, so right foot out, underneath. You may want to massage underneath, whatever feels good, whatever your body needs. Remember, you are the master of your body. So you know what you need. And then you may want to take your fingers and rub them around that kneecap and then even pinch around. Then let's come back. Let's take the right hand on top of the right and then left and then just kind of rub. Rub and massage. Get it all circulating. Now we're going to change hands. So left on the bottom, right on top. Get that bilateral movements in the brain. Engaging the full body. Beautiful. Now we're going to do one more time. Same thing. Right leg, you practice at home or wherever you are, even if you are sitting in a desk, in an office, whatever. Slide the foot out. Place the hands underneath and just massage. However you want to do it. Pinch it, thump it, rub it. And then let's change over and we're going to do the opposite. So left, right on top, underneath, massage, get it all moving. Wonderful for the knee strengthening. So sometimes maybe had an injury like I did. I had a ski injury when I was like 26, and then I decided to go snowboarding with my son for the first time. I was 42, and I fell again where my left knee kind of pushed out. So what happened is I partially tore the meniscus. Now what I did is I had to work with it. I never had any of the surgeries. However, I worked with that knee. Okay, through yoga and also taking certain movements and strengthening the left thigh muscle, I was able to support in a good way my knees. And of course, I don't run, I don't jog, I stopped skiing, I stopped snowboarding because it wasn't that important to me. It wasn't a big part of my life. So I just did workouts at the gym, as I usually do, and I also did yoga. I'm very mindful of how I walk. Okay, I don't make side to side moves really quickly. I have to be mindful and aware. Okay, so that's again what our breathing helps us with. It helps us to be more and more aware of our bodies around us, okay, as we're doing functional movements, because we want to stay as independent as possible for as long as we go through the aging process. That's the goal, okay? I don't want to be a grumpy old lady, right? I want to be a vibrant woman who is aging. And hopefully I won't have any surgeries, but anyway, moving on. So that's the knee strengthening. Now we're going to move into a cool down. And for the cool down, I would invite you to follow me. It's called the Hakini Mudra. And what it does is it synchronizes the left and the right side of the brain. This is what it's noted to do, and also help to increase our ability to focus and to stay present or to stay in the moment. Like going back to our intention. I will focus, I will stay in the moment. So to do this, we're going to take our hands, and you can place them in front of you, and just touch thumb to thumb, fingers to fingers, identical movements, and it has to be spread apart gently. And then bring the thumb, doesn't need to touch though, right to your heart center. Or you could say the middle of your breastbone without touching. And now we're going to do a cool down in a quiet breathing meditation. So I'm going to invite you, if you'd like, to close your eyes. And I will close mine. And connecting with our breath, the source of our life. And just notice the breath. And if you feel a little cold, you can come out of the movement and just grab your blanket and wrap it around you. And then move back into the Hakini Mudra. And let's take 2 more full breaths. And then relax. Bring the hands back down to the knees. And I'm going to take my fingers and just stretch them all out. And then I'm going to shake out my hands, getting the blood moving through. And then I'm going to just come back into sitting mountain. But first I'm going to rotate in a circular motion. I could keep my hands on my pelvis or my hips if I'd like. And then I'm going to come forward, almost like a cat-cow, and back, just to get that part of the lower back stretched. And then come back, and again, being aware of your sits bones, ground yourself into the chair. And let's come back to our intention. and say it 3 times out loud. I will focus. I will stay in the moment. I will focus. I will stay in the moment. I will focus. I will stay in the moment. And now let's put a smile on our faces. Nice stretch, exercising and moving the facial muscles. And then let's take an inhalation. Now, if you'd like, you can stretch your arms and then come back, palms together and relax. Or if you'd like, if you can raise your arms farther up, that's great. So coming down, palms facing down, and then turn and then come up, however you would like to. And then you can bring your palms together, or you can come all the way up on the inhalation, palms together. Come right to the center of the breastbone and acknowledge and thank yourself for doing a wonderful job. And with that practice that we did at the end, the Kekini Mudra, it helps to keep you focused. So until next time, everyone, have a great evening. And thank you again for joining me and joining Yoga in Our City. Good night.